You're walking through life, and it feels like everyone else has a map. You look around, and they all seem to be moving in the same direction, fast, focused, confident. Meanwhile, you're unsure, taking slower steps, often stopping just to breathe. They're running. You're wandering, and a voice inside keeps whispering, "You're falling behind." But what if that voice is wrong? What if your journey was never meant to look like theirs? What if wandering wasn't weakness, but wisdom in disguise? It's easy to feel lost in a world that rewards speed, structure, and sameness. But your soul doesn't operate like a factory. You are not here to be efficient. You are here to become. And becoming takes time. No one tells you this, but most lives don't follow a straight line. They bend, break, stall, restart, and sometimes move in circles before they ever begin to bloom. The people you compare yourself to, they're not ahead. They're just on a different path. And different doesn't mean better. But your mind doesn't always believe that, does it? Because when you scroll through the highlight reels of other people's lives, or hear stories of those who made it by a certain age, the comparison cuts deep. You start to think, I should be further. I should have figured it out by now. What's wrong with me? You measure your worth in milestones. You look for proof that you're doing okay in other people's timelines. And that's the trap. Because your timeline was never supposed to be theirs. That slow progress you're ashamed of, it's actually depth being formed. That pause you took last year, it's where your healing started. Those months where you felt stuck, they were gestation, not failure. But no one posts about that. No one celebrates the invisible wins. No one claps for the roots growing underground. Yet, those roots are what keep trees from falling when the storm hits. So if your journey looks quiet, or slower, or uncertain, that doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're building something real. Let's talk about what's actually hurting you. The habit of looking sideways. You see them, your friends, strangers, old classmates, doing things you haven't done yet. And instead of focusing on your next step, you start counting how many steps behind you think you are. This isn't just self-doubt. It's self-sabotage. Because comparison kills clarity. And without clarity, your path stays blurry. And when your path is blurry, you hesitate. You second-guess. You shrink. And here's the most dangerous part. You start adjusting your life to match someone else's destination, instead of following your own. But you were not created to copy anyone's journey. You were built to become, fully, painfully, beautifully, yourself. What if, instead of obsessing over where you're not, you learn to honor where you are? Right now, this exact moment. Even if it's messy, unclear, or quiet. Because this chapter might not be glamorous, but it's sacred. And if you leave it too soon, chasing someone else's highlight reel, you'll miss the wisdom that only your detour can teach you. So take a breath. This is your life. And it doesn't need to match anyone else's to be meaningful. You don't need to speed up to prove you're going somewhere. You don't need to explain your detours or apologize for your delays. And you definitely don't need to shrink your story just to make someone else feel comfortable. What you need is to trust. Not blindly, not recklessly, but gently. Trust that your process is unfolding in the way that you were made for, even if no one else understands it. Sometimes the journey you're on won't make sense to the people around you. They'll ask questions you can't answer yet. They'll project timelines that don't fit your soul. They'll tell you to catch up when you were never meant to run their race. And that's okay. They're not wrong. They're just not you. You weren't made for the path of the masses. You were made for the path that makes you whole, even if it's unfamiliar, lonely, or slow. Here's the truth. There's no trophy for arriving the fastest, but there is a quiet reward for staying true to your own becoming. And that reward? It's peace. It's waking up one day and realizing that even though you took the long way, even though no one cheered while you walked alone, you ended up somewhere honest, somewhere meaningful, somewhere that feels like home. But let's be real, this isn't easy. The world doesn't hand out praise for inner work. It celebrates outcomes, not the hours spent healing in silence. And so you start to wonder, does any of this matter? Am I just fooling myself? Let me tell you something the world won't. That night you didn't give up, even though you wanted to? That moment you chose rest over perfection? That time you forgave yourself instead of spiraling? That was growth. And growth doesn't always shout. It often whispers. You won't always feel like you're progressing. There will be stretches where nothing moves on the outside. But inside, under the surface, your foundation is deepening. And when the time comes, when the soil is ready, you'll rise. And it won't look like a leap. It'll look like someone who knows themselves, someone who doesn't need comparison to feel confident, someone who walks their path, not because it's easy, but because it's theirs. You see, when you finally stop measuring your life by someone else's yardstick, you begin to breathe again. You stop panicking over missed deadlines. You stop chasing aesthetics. You stop performing for approval. And instead, you start asking better questions. Not, why am I not there yet? But, what is life trying to teach me here? What truth have I been running from? What kind of person do I want to be when no one's watching? These questions won't give you instant answers, but they will pull you closer to your real self. And the closer you get to your truth, the more the noise around you fades. Yes, there will always be people doing more, faster, louder. Let them. You're not in a race. You're in a becoming. And becoming takes time. It takes stillness. It takes grace. It takes courage to look inward while the world keeps telling you to look outward. So if you feel like your journey doesn't look like anyone else's, good. It means you're not copying. It means you're carving. It means you're growing a life that actually fits you. Not one borrowed, not one inherited, but one chosen. Keep going. Even when it's quiet. Even when it's slow. Even when it makes no sense yet. Because the road that's yours might not be paved, but it will be real. And that's worth everything. You know what's interesting? Most of the people you admire, the ones who seem so certain, so complete, they've walked through confusion too. They've doubted their steps. They've cried in silence. They've whispered, "What if I'm not enough?" on nights no one ever saw. But you only see the after. You see the highlight, not the hidden. And you forget that behind every strong person, there's a season that broke them open. Maybe that's the season you're in now. A season where everything feels upside down. Where answers don't come easy. Where you question if your effort matters, or if you've made a mistake by choosing a quieter, slower, more uncertain path. But here's what most people never realize. It's in those quiet seasons that you become the person capable of holding the life you truly want. Not the life that impresses others. Not the life that looks great online. But the life that lets you sleep in peace. The life that doesn't feel like a costume. So, how do you walk this path when everything in you wants to turn around? You start by doing something radical. You honor the season you're in. Even if it's messy, even if it's foggy, even if it feels like nothing is working. You honor it. You stop fighting the pace of your growth. You stop begging for clarity before it's time. And you start choosing presence, not performance. That looks like waking up and doing one small thing that grounds you. Writing instead of scrolling. Breathing instead of rushing. Moving your body because it's alive, not because it needs to be fixed. It looks like setting boundaries, even if your voice shakes. Saying no to what drains you, yes to what heals you, even if that makes no sense to the people watching. It looks like remembering this simple truth. Just because they're running doesn't mean you need to. Let them run. Let them post. Let them climb. You're planting. You're watering. You're building something that won't need validation to last. And one day, sooner than you think, you'll wake up and realize you're not behind. You were just on your own timeline the whole time. You'll see that all the nights you spent in doubt were shaping your depth. That all the times you walked alone were building your clarity. That all the moments you felt like giving up were quiet rehearsals for resilience. You'll look back and think, I didn't rush. I didn't fake it. I didn't bend myself into someone else's mold. I stayed. I felt. I learned. I grew. That's what becoming really is. Not a sudden rise, but a long remembering. Not a perfect plan, but an honest return to who you've always been beneath the noise. So if you need permission, here it is. Walk your path. Let it be crooked. Let it be quiet. Let it be yours. And when the doubt comes, because it will, just remember this. You don't have to match their journey to build a beautiful one. You just have to keep going, step by step, breath by breath, truth by truth. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not late. You are becoming. And that is enough.